I'll call the meeting to order. Um, I'd like to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu territory, and the home of the traditional lands of the Cree, the Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nations in Treaty 3 territory. I'll introduce panel members and the secretary. I'm Marcelo Rondo. I'll be chairing. Faye Branson is panel member next to me on my right. Robert Hudson is on Zoom. Jason Robertson is our secretary today. And Jamie Fougere is our assessor on Zoom. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note that you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the Cities of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once the hearing is concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing applications for revision of assessment rolls in accordance with the Municipal Act, and the matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit the discussions to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matter must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decision with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicants may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after the applications have been heard. Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions, and you will receive a board decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be now hearing items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on our docket today. Mr. Robertson, please affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony. We'll be starting with number 2 because number 1 we have no information for at this time, so we'll move that to the end. So we'll start with number 2, which will be 857 Mcgregor.
Okay. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Jamie Fougere.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Neufeld. Please state your full name.
Rocky Neufeld.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Mercury. Please state your full name.
James Mercury.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Jamie, when you're ready.
All right. So the first property that we're going to hear today is 857 Mcgregor Street.
Jamie, can you turn up your volume?
Sure. I can.
Or do we do it at this end?
No, it's on his end.
Try it there.
It's going to be a moment while I try to look at
That's better.
Much better.
It's better already?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave it as it is then, in that case. Excuse me. So the property that we're hearing is 857 Mcgregor Street. The roll number is 11-0209-57000. And you can see that we're requesting that the penalties apply for non-cooperation. So I'm just going to walk through that. So beginning on.
Is there any, with the rebuttal, is there anything gonna knock them up?
Not yet.
Okay.
You don't, we don't have anything on that, do we? Yeah, it'll be further down, right?
Yeah, so on page 11 of my brief,
Thank you.
we have some information. We have the tracking here. We do not have a signature for this particular mailing. And I'm uncertain why that is, as to why Canada Post did not obtain a signature. It could be that there's a box that they dropped it in, I'm not sure. But you can see on page 12, that's where the signature would be. Then you can see on page 13, this is where the form begins. It says that it's going to Unit 30 of 2855 Pembina Highway. And so the subject property, 857 Mcgregor, the ownership owns the LaSalle insurance at 857 Mcgregor, as well as the LaSalle insurance at 30-2855 Pembina Highway. And so I believe basically since they purchased the building, our mailings have been going to that address on Pembina, both the bills and assessments, as well as the income and expense questionnaires. And you can see on page 3 of my brief, we have not received actually a mailer since 2017. And I think I'll let the applicant speak for it, but I believe they've reviewed the 2017 mailer, but here we are looking for the 2020 mailer. And I've had some correspondence with Mr. Neufeld, and today he's provided me some updated information regarding the apartments, so that is appreciated. But you can see here for 2020, we did not receive a mailer back. So with that, we're going to request the penalties apply. Thank you.
Rocky, are you speaking to it or Jamie?
I'll just ask a few questions first. I think Mr. Neufeld may have some evidence to give after we're done, and then I'll just provide a brief submission, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Fougere. Just looking at your brief, I think you indicated that there hadn't been a mailer response since 2017. I don't see that on your form. You're only showing 2020. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it shows 2020 as well as 2019, but yes, that is correct.
Okay. So just to clarify that, and you've indicated you're using an address on Pembina Highway. Nowhere in your brief do I see where that would be actually identified with the owner as the correct address for service. I know you indicated there was another business there that was owned by the same principals, I believe, but have you actually reviewed the status of title on this on the Mcgregor property to search what the address for service would be?
Well, I've reviewed the company that owns the company title that owns 857 Mcgregor, and so you can see on page, for example, on page 13, we have the numbered company that owns the Mcgregor property. Their mailing address is in fact 30-2855 Pembina Highway.
Right, so that's a different company.
That's the ownership of the subject property.
When you say the ownership, what are you referring to? The 665 number, the numbered company? Okay.
Right.
Well, I don't, do you have the corporate search in your evidence?
I do not have it in my
Okay.
evidence. I do have it in front of me.
Okay.
Pulled it today.
All right. The status of title document, I believe, was filed as a rebuttal document. Do you have that? I don't know if the board has that.
We have it. We'll open it when you do your rebuttal.
Okay. We'll let Mr. Neufeld speak to that. But also, just getting to the main point is typically when you send out these mailers and are going to be requesting a deferral penalty, you want some confidence that it actually found its way to the owner, not that it was just mailed to the address, whatever address that might be, correct?
Well, I think there's a reasonability that if the ownership is the same at Mcgregor, the Mcgregor business of LaSalle Insurance, as well as the property 857 Mcgregor, and then they also own the business where we've mailed it to. I think there's a reasonable chance that we would expect that either he would receive it or a colleague of his would receive it and pass it on. We've also, again, haven't received a return since 2017. And I checked for the 2017 mailer, and we actually sent it to that same address, 30-2855 Pembina Highway. So they responded to the 2017 mailer. We continued to send it there. We haven't received a response. Their taxes go there, and their taxes are paid.
Okay, so let me just break that down a little bit here. When you send something by registered mail, typically Canada Post will request a signature, will they not? So that they know it's actually received by a live person?
Correct. And I've pointed out that the records that we have do not show a signature. So you can see on page 12 of my brief, as mentioned, it says signature unavailable or not requested. Unfortunately, we don't get any more information when this happens. It has happened before. I can't speak to what exactly happened, but I believe my sense that they've responded to a mailing that has gone to that address, and we've sent subsequent mailers, and they have not responded since 2017. I'm unaware of any ownership changes since 2017. So this is the information that we have available.
Okay. So it's fair to say, Mr. Vigier, you're just speculating at this point. You don't have any direct evidence that it was received by the owner or brought to the owner's attention, correct?
Well, where it goes exactly once it's been received, anybody would be speculating because we aren't those people who received it. But you can see on page 11 that it is tracked and marked as delivered on June 10th.
Right. Are you aware that there's actually a UPS store in that same building?
Right.
And you're aware, and I think this was provided in the rebuttal evidence, that there are actually a number of mailboxes at that UPS store where individuals or businesses can designate a mailbox for their mail to be delivered. Correct?
Right.
And that's at 35, unit 35 in the same building, correct?
Correct.
All right. So did it occur to you that it's possible the mail went into box number 30 at the UPS store?
Did it occur to me that
as a possibility?
Well, that I don't want to speculate, as you mentioned. sort of beyond what I think is reasonable. I don't know. There's all sorts of possibilities that could have happened. And I really can't speak to, potential situations that could arise.
All right, fair enough, Mr. Fauger. Those are my only questions. Thank you. Unless the board has questions of the assessor, then I would maybe turn it over to Mr. Neufeld.
Sorry, I had one question for Mr. Fauger. And I did just email this to the board, Mr. Mercury and yourself. You had said in your verbal testimony that you have not received a response since 2017. I just sent a copy of the 2018 mailer, and I'm just wondering if you had a chance to look at that.
I just put that in the share folder now. It's labeled item number 2, mailer.
So to that, I would say that I received an email at 1:12 from you that has the 2017 mailer in it. It has the due date of 2018, so it would have been sent out and returned in the year 2018. But so when I say 2017, I should be more clear. I meant to say the return pertaining to 2017.
Oh, okay, and that's fair. I just heard you say it, and I was looking at this, and it's got a received stamp from City Tax from May 2nd, 2018.
Right.
Indicates that they got it from regular mail, not from certified mail. Okay, that was. Thank you for clarifying that.
Robert, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
With your page, I guess it's 13, where there's no signature. I thought all registered mail had to have one. I know if I get registered mail at my house, if I'm not there, the postie brings it back and I have to go sign for it at the post office. So how is it possible that they would drop this off?
I do not know. Unfortunately, I've asked around it within our department. I tried to do a frequently asked questions search on Canada Post's website, and basically it had suggested something along the lines of if you don't have a signature, it's unavailable or not requested. And to me, that doesn't really, it's not very helpful. But it is what it is, and that's the way that this has come back. I don't know the circumstances in which they would leave it without a signature. I don't know if it's, I really can't speak to that. But all I can say is that we do request that Canada Post obtain a signature when delivered. But in this case and several others that I've had previously, we had not received a signature.
But you don't know if they received it.
It says delivered. We've sent it.
Is you don't know that it was delivered.
I'm reading off of the tracking number right here. The information says delivered. We do not have a signature.
But you requested a signature and there is no signature.
Yes, that's
You
correct.
do not know if it was delivered.
We do not have a signature confirmation of the delivery.
I'll
We have
leave it
a
at
tracking
that.
number here, which shows the dates and
I've read that.
Mhm.
Let's move on to you guys want to do a rebuttal on this? Is that it now?
Yes, just briefly, Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to turn it to Mr. Neufeld because I understand he at least has looked into the situation and can provide some additional context. And then I think we can just turn to summation on this issue.
Okay. Go ahead with your rebuttal.
Yes, thank you. So we had sent in 3 documents. One was the title, which shows that the address for service is 1531 Pembina Highway, and that is was their legal counsel's office, and that's the registered place for service. Comments about paying your taxes, I think most people are in tips, but I'm not sure whether it was just this single piece of mail that didn't go through or regular ones. The image we sent you, I spoke to the owner, Jason Murphy, and he says he's never received the mailer. And he says what often happens in his mall, you'll note the picture I sent in is a UPS, and UPS is located next door to them at unit 35 in the mall. LaSalle Insurance is located at unit 30, but UPS also operates a mailbox drop, and there is a box 30, and LaSalle Insurance does not use the UPS services. They speculated that what often happens is if they have a regular mailman making rounds who will drop off mail for LaSalle, but when something special happens, it might end up in UPS's a mailbox system in whoever owns box 30. But that's just speculation. They've just never received it, and I think that was a rather interesting predicament that they're in. Other than that, there's the Mo Investments thing, and Mr. Mercury can deal with that. And as far as the missing forms over the time, I mean, I only see evidence that 2 were missed, and there's a past history of compliance, and I suspect that the 2 that were missed were likely all the same reason, not sent to the address for service. And that's what Mr. Murphy indicated. He says he gets them, he fills them in. I only actually got through to him this morning at 11 o'clock, and he said, "What? I always send these in," and he filled out the 2021 one, a copy of it, and sent it to me. And I sent it to Mr. Fougere, and not for evidence, but just to give you an indication that that's not a fair statement to say they do comply when they get their mailer. And he actually took one of the mailers from a different address that he had received on and stroked it out and put in the Mcgregor address just so it was filed. I don't think we're dealing with any sort of a chronic offender, or if that's what you like to call it. I think this just went to somewhere else.
So if I could just add, just to conclude, Mr. Chairman, the Mo Investments case is a municipal board case, which you may be familiar with, but essentially what the board has said is that there's an obligation on the city to prove service, and simply sending it to the address for service or the business is not sufficient. In that particular case, they sent a notice. It was actually received by the tenant, but the tenant for whatever reason didn't bring it to the attention of the owner, and the board determined that that was not sufficient service. So clearly here, I think without a signature, we can speculate as to what happened, but proof of service in my submission has not been made. Just as a final note, I do note that this has been an issue we've debated for a number of years now. The legislature has amended the Municipal Assessment Act, so as of 2022, once these notices are sent out, there is actually a deemed receipt provision in the act, so that rightly or wrongly, the city can prove service just by proving that they mailed it. But that does not apply to the 2021 mailer that we're dealing with here today. So that's I think that would conclude our submissions, Mr. Chairman, subject to any questions you might have.
Jason, do you have anything in summary?
Myself?
Yes, you.
Right.
Amy, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Jason, you can summarize.
for either one of you on the applicant, representing the applicant, so you would agree that when we send out the income and expense questionnaire, we send it first through regular mail, and then if we don't receive a response, we'll send it express post. Would you agree?
Well, I think you're asking us about your procedures, and I've heard the statement made several times. I don't disagree with you making the statement. I don't know if it always happens. So, you know, I agree with what you're saying. I just don't know about the certainty.
Okay. And so you've also agreed, you know what, maybe this is better for just summation, if I may have a moment to summate.
Go ahead.
So I just want to remind you of just the facts here. They've received a mailer in the year 2018 representing the income year 2017 at that address on Pembina, 30-2855 Pembina Highway. And they responded back to us. And as Mr. Neufeld pointed out, that was the first mailing, sent regular mail. Then through subsequent years, we have not received a response back. The 2 years indicated in my brief are for the income year 2019 and 2020 that we did not receive a response back. It's post-reference, but we have not received a response back for 2021. And the ownership of the businesses are the same. And when you look up the business, the numbered company that owns Mcgregor Street, address associated with the company search is 30-2855 Pembina Highway. I can't speak to why Canada Post didn't or wasn't able to get a signature at that for the express post mailing that we're looking for here. But I can say that the parties have been the same, and that they receive 2 mailings every year, and the income year 2018, income year 2019, income year 2020, income year 2021, we have not received anything back. So, you know, I'll leave it for you guys to decide if the lack of a signature on tracked mailing is cause to not allow the penalties, but I just wanted to summarize.
No. Right. Okay, we're going to go on camera to discuss this.
Sorry, I did have a response to that, and I just noticed something I think I should address, if that's okay, to the assessor's comments.
Okay, go ahead. You hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, in case Jamie has anything after, but the assessor was talking about receiving mailers that he said were sent to 2855 Pembina. Now, he hasn't shown you these, and I'm not saying that he's not an honorable person, but the property wasn't owned by LaSalle Insurance until very, very recently before that mailer. At the time, in the past, it was a partnership between Greg's Insurance, that's the former owner listed on the title, and the Murphys, who are LaSalle Insurance, and they actually have a couple of these locations where they're partners with other insurance providers. The other being Pleasure Insurance on Gateway. So I don't think that the previous mailer went to 2855. I think it went to Greg Herchak in the past, and I'm looking at a Google Street View where in September 2016, and it says Greg's Insurance, LaSalle Insurance together. That was dated in September after the date of sale. So I just think that perhaps you'd give his comments about other mail being delivered to them and responded to probably a little bit less weight. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now we'll go in camera.
Can I respond?
We're gonna keep this up all day or? Okay,
It's up to you, sir.
that was his
If
summation.
you want to have a
Go
clear
ahead.
discussion on it, you can set the boundaries where you like.
Yeah.
And if you've heard enough, you've heard enough, and I won't push it. But I just want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make a fair decision.
Go ahead and give me the information.
So
That's information.
go ahead.
Go ahead and give us the information.
So I would say that the 2018 mailer to which, sorry, the 2017 mailer that was sent out in 2018, I was able to confirm, it's not in my brief, but I was able to confirm that it was sent to 30-2855 Pembina Highway, and everything since then has gone there. That's all I can say with that regard. And you can put on the weight on it that you choose. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're gonna go in camera. Okay, call the meeting back to order. As far as 857 Mcgregor for non-co-op, we're denying the city's non-co-op. So we'll move ahead with the file now. And if you want to continue with that, Jamie, you're up. I got it. There's two Jamies.
Okay, just bringing it up here. So we actually have a recommendation, a small recommendation on this file here.
What page is that on?
So I don't have it attached to my brief here.
Giving us a verbal, okay.
Yeah. So I am proposing that we reduce the value from a total of 472,000, which is 392,000. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong property.
I was gonna say.
Sorry about that. Try this again. Okay, 857 McGregor. We had a total of 963,000, 548,000 for the 60T, the commercial space, and then 410,000 for the 10T, which is the apartments above. And I'm proposing that we reduce the value to a total of 907,000, which is 530,000 for the commercial portion, and 377,000 for the 10T.
NP?
Correct.
NT, yeah, 10 taxes.
And so just a quick background, I made some small adjustments to the commercial rental areas on the main floor, just because we had a discrepancy. And then I changed and a small adjustment to the rental rates, and then a small adjustment to the capitalization rate for the apartment. And so that results in the figures that I had mentioned.
Okay, Mr. Neufeld, are you good with that?
No, we think it should be a bit lower, but I'm also modifying mine as well. But I'll get into that when I get to my submission.
Okay, let's go into your full submission then, Jamie.
Sure. So you can see on the second page, you can see photographs of the property, the aerial view, and then the street view. Then on page 3, there is a sale, which has been alluded to through our discussion so far. July 2016, sold for 850,000. And we're looking for a total of 907,000. So you can see.
Jamie, I'm losing you again.
Sorry about that. Maybe I'll try to move closer to the microphone. So it sold in 2016 for 850,000. And as a reminder, we're looking for 907,000. And you can see our rental comparables on page 4. And then some apartment comparables on page 5. And that's my presentation.
Mr. Newfeld, any questions?
Yes, I do. Do you have any information about the sale?
We do have a mailer that has been responded to. I have opted not to include it in today's submission. But according to the sales mailer, I'm just looking it over now. It says that it was arm's length open market transaction. There was an appraisal conducted. I won't get into that. As a full interest sale. So from what I can tell from the sales mailer, it appears to be a good sale. So if you have anything to add, I'll wait for that for your turn.
Well, I guess you have read the title that was introduced in evidence earlier on, and you noticed who the vendor was?
I'm assuming it was a party related to Greg's Insurance.
Right. And Greg's Insurance sold to LaSalle Insurance, and they were partners, and they split up their assets. Were you aware that this was a business transaction?
No, I don't have any information about that beyond what was provided from the sales questionnaire, including the question as it relates to, were any items other than real estate included in the purchase price? And they have an opportunity to include, even circle business accounts, but they've opted to say no in the sales mailer. So that's the only information that I have as it relates to that.
Well, are you aware that in 2016 there was a sign on the side of the building that said Greg's Insurance, a division of LaSalle Insurance?
I was not aware of that.
Okay. Now the rents you've applied for the commercial portion, I was looking at your comparables. Fair to say that you don't have anything remotely close to the location of the subject?
Not in the direct vicinity, no.
I mean, Corridon, Marion, Portage, nothing. So on that basis, would you anticipate that Mcgregor may not receive rents of so I was trying to find the number here of $15 and $16?
That is possible, certainly.
And the capitalization was this I'm looking right now at the commercial summary. Was this all done by the model?
The original assessment was. I have overridden the rents in my proposed recommendation.
Oh, okay. And what is the new rent you put in?
I'm proposing using $15 square foot on both commercial rental units.
15. And which one of your comparables are you relying on?
Through the analysis that I've done, I unfortunately did not include comparable sales table on this particular property, but I was guided largely from comparable sales of.
No, I meant the rents. I'm looking on page 4.
So I'm saying for my recommendation, I've sort of worked backwards a little bit from comparable sales to come up with a $15 rental rate. You could look at 196 Taché. It's a CMCMU with commercial units on the main floor. They've received $15, for example, for their unit. And that's found on page 4 of my brief.
So 196 Taché, constructed in 1991, located a few blocks from St. Boniface Hospital, is $15. That was your rent?
The effective year built, but yes.
Okay. Did you make any other changes in your recommendation to what we assume to be the model?
Just the with regards to the apartment capitalization rate. I'm with my recommendation, I'm proposing moving from 5.05 to 5.55.
5.55. Now, the commercial portion is capitalized at 7.1%. So are you suggesting the two are separately marketable?
I am not, and I do recognize the difficulties trying to support two incomes or two capitalization rates here. It is my contention that when I had a chance to review it fully and looking at a price per square foot, that I was content with the value that it was producing. And so the capitalization rates for the apartment may not appear to make a lot of sense on face value.
Well, and now you've been talking about sales. Did you include any sales analysis in your evidence?
As mentioned, I did not.
Did you have an opportunity to review old mailers then to determine what the historical rents and revenue have been?
We're the ones that are available to me were several years old at this point, so I did review them. I did not rely upon them.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Robert, any questions?
Robert, you're muted.
Sorry. For clarification, Jamie, can you give me the revised, or give us, pardon me, the revised class code 10 and class code 60 NOIs based on your recommendation?
Right, sure. So the NOI for the commercial portion is 37,650.
Okay.
And that's for the commercial portion. And then I'm gonna have to pull out a calculator because I'm in our boardroom here and I don't have access to all of our.
Maybe do you have the total NOI?
I have, unfortunately, I don't have the capitalization rate and then the value that it's producing. So I could work that backwards if I can open up my calculator. I apologize for the delay here. The calculator is not opening up. I apologize, but if either of you guys have a calculator, you may be able to do this faster than myself. So the total is 377,000, and then the capitalization rate that we've used to produce that is 5.55. So just opening Excel here to So I believe the apartment NOI would be 20,924,000.
Okay, and the revised blended rate would be my final question.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to give you an accurate figure with that. Again, because I can't access all of my programs here. Just going to try one last time. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not letting me open it. I would suggest that it would be in a scale of 6 or 6.5. Unfortunately, I cannot rely on that.
Okay,
figure.
so the class code 10 went up to 5, so it went up 0.5%, 0.5, went from 5.05 to 5.55, and that would drive the blended rate up to probably around 6.5. Would that be approximate? Okay,
Approximately.
that's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
No questions.
Looking at your comparables on the rental on the page 4,
Right.
Main Street, 1982, age, $12 a square foot, but closer to Mcgregor than anything else, correct?
Correct.
Your Portage Avenue, 264, downtown, a little smaller, but it's a 12 and it was 1911, so it's older. But have you visited either of these 3 properties to see what they're in inside?
I have been to 264 Portage, 196 Taché, and I believe 1924 Main Street. I would like to just quickly confirm that. By me. But I believe I have. Gonna bring this up here. No, I haven't actually been to that location, but it's not as though. And anyway, maybe I shouldn't be giving evidence on something that I'm looking at on Street View at this point, but I would suggest that it's comparable at the very least.
So that one, which one? You're talking Main Street would be comparable to a building made in 1955.
Correct. I would.
Have you seen the Mcgregor building inside or just the exterior?
I have not been inside the Mcgregor
Okay,
property.
very good. Mr. Neufeld, on with your presentation, please. Oh, yeah, I think we did all the questioning, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Please.
Okay, thank you. Now, the assessor and I have had the opportunity for some good discussion on this property, and I was aware of the particular recommendation he brought forward, and we'd had some general discussion. So I hope I'm not going to step over the line here and make too many changes for you. And I think it's just a fair response to what we're supposed to be doing is talking about stuff. Firstly, on my page 1, the income workup, I'm just changing my rent to the $12. I don't really have a problem with his $12 rent on Main Street. That's about the closest we're going to find. I noted that my information from the neighborhood was somewhat dated. That changes my NOI on the commercial side to 29,211. And at $12 a square foot. And that's with a vacancy rate which is lower than what the assessor has, but we're using the Johnson report. And non-recoverables, and our data for that is included in the last 2 pages. What you'll find there is a study that we've done on our managed properties here on what non-recoverables really are. And the mean on that particular study is 8%. They're real. And it's just a question of how much money goes into the person's hands who owns the property. That's what we have to be chasing, not a hypothetical analysis of what maybe it should be. So that changes my income to 29,211. Now the apartment income I have was very, very dated, and at the time we did this, they had a very large vacancy. Since then, I had a chance to speak with the Murphys, and things have been better. So we'd had an income on the apartments of 18,000, and it's actually performing at about 35,400. And using I just want to just double check what the assessor had for a expense ratio. I wasn't planning on being here, so I apologize. I'm really unprepared. 50% expense ratio. So I'm changing my apartment income to 17,700, which is a 50% expense ratio. That's the NOI. So the two combined NOIs are 46,911. And I'd see no reason to deviate from the cap rate of 8%. This is not an investment property, but I'll have some comments later, though, on how I think it should have been valued. If we follow our proper principles of valuation, it's a 4th class property, miscellaneous. These are not sought after by investors who are chasing high rates of return. And what we've been looking at this year is trying to put some context to capitalization rates. On page 20 of my report is the Colliers system of double checking capitalization rates. And what we're doing here is trying to remind people that there has to be a link between money market rates, lending rates, and cap rates. And this chart is in our cap rate study now, that shows that you're looking for 400 to 500 basis points from the bond yield and 300 basis points from achievable interest rates. And this is your double check. This is your stress test. This is when you know that you're not chasing a crazy cap rate. Now, a property like this is probably going to be is not investment grade. Now, when you keep going to our cap rate report, and now you see page 23, that's now on our first page of our cap rate report, is the spread between the national average cap rate and the Government of Canada 10-year bond yield, 403 basis points. That's for good properties. And this is now how we've arrived at our cap rates shown on page 10. And this is our double check systems. We have, of course, hundreds, thousands of sales across Canada, but now we're checking it and saying, does this make sense? Now, if you look at what we provided here, you've got retail, which would be a range of 6 to 6.75, multifamily 5 to 6. Those are the.
You on now? What page are you on now?
Thanks, 25.
And, oh, sorry, 25, apologize, 25. So those are the best rates, and the definitions for those rates are on page 26. Nowhere in there will you find the subject property. It doesn't fit in those rates, which means it's higher than those rates, because as an investment property, it's not an aggressive cap rate. It's not something investors are looking at. When these rates show up for these, they're not being sold on the basis of their income, and that's what gives us a problem with trying to value them. Colliers also came up with, on page 29, is the debt advisory services. So we're now trying to link this, and this is just a repeat of what you've seen. This is not; these aren't my publications. These are Colliers International. We're trying to remind the world about there has to be a link between rates and cap rates. 3%, 4%, sub 5%, they don't exist at all. And on page 33, it's just, I'm always put this up. These are the properties that are chasing high interest, or sorry, low cap rates, not the type we're looking at today. So the assessor does not have that. They have a one size fits all category pretty much, and some modifications, and they're not meeting the market. Now, sorry, that's the problem working here, is that people are bothering you. Send that guy away. I have a much longer presentation I always give in the cap rates, but on page 2, going back to page 2, shows how we would hypothetically apply this. And, you take the best rate possible out there. And remember, there's no such thing as splitting up an apartment block and a retail space and adding the two together and saying, oh, we'll take the blended rate. That's not how it's done. I mean, you're generally looking at the weakest link when you're looking at a property like this. What's the worst performer? In this case, it's going to be the retail, because that's what's going to give you a problem. Multifamily's in demand. It's likely that will remain constant, but people aren't going to buy it on the basis of just that and say, I'm going to get half a cap rate there that's good and another one that's different. It's the concept of you can't replace an organ in the body and expect that you're averaging your lifespan out. It's still got the same old age. Now, we rank these through. Now, the only change I noted here is that the vacancies in residential was based on old information. So I just made a change, and so our new cap rate, was not 8. It's actually down to 7.75. They were working on old information. And on that basis, our total value at a total rate of 7.75 is $605,300. The commercial residential split that I've calculated here is just based on the income stream, which I have commercial at 377,000 and residential at 228,000. And just for the next thing I'm going to say, I was just going to give you the ratios, the percentages. So that's 37.5% residential and 62.5 commercial. Now, Mr. Fougere and I have had some great discussions, and I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I think he mentioned today about talking about the direct comparison approach, and it's likely this would have been given far more weight in the long run than income, because this is not an investment property. I had prepared some sales. Actually, it was every CMCMU that sold in the 3-year period preceding the reference date, and sent them to him, and I know I can't add them now as evidence. I know Mr. Fougere has seen them. And we had a mean of 105.82 a foot and a median of 103.75 a foot. And most of these were in locations that were similar to the subject: Alfred, Ellis, Archibald, Isabel, Sargent, Logan, McPhillips, Selkirk, Harriet, Selkirk, Redwood, and so on. Jameson, Stella. That's the likely way it would have been sold. And on that basis, at $105 a foot, on the actual area, which is not the basement, but it's the upper level, which is 6,192 square feet. That comes out to $650,160. And that's how it would have been sold and marketed. If one were appraising it, that's going to be the number that you're going to rely on, an element of owner usage in there. And that is slightly higher than my revised workup. So 650,160 rounded to 650,000 would be, sitting here today, my concept of value, which works out to 406, 250 on the commercial, and 243,750 on the residential. I apologize for the mess. Like I said, I hadn't intended on being here today. We had some very fruitful discussions, and I guess with this property, they didn't work out. So do you want me to repeat any of those numbers?
Did you get them?
So 406K for the commercial and 243K for the residential?
406, 250,
250.
243, 750, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that gives you the total of 650. Any questions for Mr. Neufeld?
No
James.
questions.
No
No
questions?
questions. Thank you.
Robert?
No questions, thank you.
No questions.
Mr. Neufeld, on your sheet on page 2, why did you give it a 7 on the ink growth plot?
On the income growth, the downside on the commercial, I think what we've been seeing in the market is, I don't want to be exaggerating, but it's like the death of retail in the world, or the decline in retail. And especially through the COVID years, that the softness in it was immense. That's where we're going to see a greater fallout in the next 2-3 years as leases expire. I don't think that whatever income you put on that main floor retail is going to be strong in the future. Residential will be.
I gotta find my way back there. Where did I go? Just give me 1 second here. I'll get back to where I want it to be. This one, right? Applicant. This one. Now I'm back. Then you've got, for the building size, small. Why is that?
Well, a small property has greater risks for tenant turnover, in that if you have more units in there, you can spread your vacancy risk over. So if you have one client go dark, in this case, in the commercial units, one goes dark. In this case, you impact 50% of the revenue stream. So if you had a strip mall with 12 units in it, and one goes dark, that's an 8% vacancy rather than 50%. So that's a negative factor on size. Is small is bad on the investment side. On ownership side, it's, if you're occupying it yourself, you might have found a property that's perfect for you and you love it. And that's fair, but that's not how it's being appraised on when you look the income approach.
Then for the year 1955, you gave that a 1. Are you telling me this building hasn't been renovated to?
No, it's in the original condition. We have pictures that never made it to the appeal. I don't know how long you like these hearings to last, but I guess we didn't put them in. This building is in original condition. And nothing's really been done to it. And one of the biggest problems with this is now going to be code review, because when you take out any sort of change, and you have to update your codes, you're going to be faced with tens of thousands of dollars of renovations that that you can't get around. That's what will happen now with code. So I'm tending now these days to look at 2007 as the date where there's a cutoff, because that's the last time there were major changes in national building code. And especially for the residential side, that there'll be air change units will be the greatest issue, and then commercial side, in addition to that, you have barrier-free access and the fire protection. So it complies with all code as of the date the last work was done, but buildings of this age will have a greater problem. And of course, it's also at the age where all the regular parts of the building have begun to show their age. You've got a brick exterior, which means repointing problems. You have a flat roof, which means replacing every 20 years. And on a small building, you don't have the income to keep repairing it like you would a large building.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anything in summation? Jamie, you want to go? Nothing?
No, thank you.
Mr. Neufeld?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. That completes number 2.
With that, I will sign off, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jamie. See you later. We're going to move to 1858 Portage Avenue.
Okay, I'm just gonna open it up here.
Oh, forgot about all those.
All right, so 1858 Portage Avenue. We have a recommendation here. I'll just read the address and roll number. 1858 Portage Avenue. Roll number is 0702008800. And so we have a recommendation here. The original assessment was,
Closer to the mic.
pardon me?
Closer to the mic. I'm not hearing you.
Sorry, can the rest of you guys hear me as well? Or-
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the original assessment was 774,000 for the commercial portion, that's 60T. And then 337,000 for the residential portion 10T.
373.
Sorry, yeah, 373. So in total, that's 1,147,000. Our recommendation now is to change the 60T, the commercial portion, to 650,000. And the residential portion, the 10T, to 315,000. So that's a total of 965,000. And so that's our recommendation.
Okay, Mr. Neufeld, are you accepting the recommendation?
We are.
You are?
Yeah, that surprised you.
Thank you, Mr. Neufeld. Now that will, I guess we don't need any closure on this one. Do the panel members have any questions?
No questions.
No questions, no questions. Thank
No
you.
questions.
It'll be 965 with the break that you said, 650 commercial, 315 on the residential, so a total of 965,000.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna move on to the next one, which is number 4529 Marion.
Okay, 529 Marion Street. The roll number is 0603082400. And so the original assessment was a total of 1,255,000. The commercial portion, the 60T, was 1,106,000. The residential 10T portion was 149,000.
Hi, sorry to interrupt for 1 second here. I have to run away for a reason. Ashlyn there's just recommendations for us to accept. I don't know if she needs to be sworn in or not, but she's just going to sit in for me, if that's okay.
She will need to be sworn in, yes.
Okay.
We'll swear her in.
Hi, Ashlyn.
Hi,
Hi. Ma'am, please state your full name.
Ashlyn Neufeld.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on. Back to you, Jamie.
Okay, so it's just saying the total original assessed value was 1,255,000, and that's 1,106,000 60T. That's the commercial portion, and then 149,000 for the residential portion, the 10T. And we're going to recommend that we reduce the value to a total of 1,058,000, and that's 940,000 for the commercial portion, 60T.
Say that number again.
940,000
Okay, commercial.
on the commercial portion, and then 118,000 on the 10T portion.
Okay. And her name was Allison? Allison, you guys,
Ashlyn. It's Ashlyn.
Ashlyn,
Yeah.
are you guys agreeing with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what the rec's gonna be then, 1,058,000.
1 million.
Yeah, commercial 940,000.
Yep.
And the 10T is 118,000. That's correct. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, which will be 539 St. Mary's Road.
So the address is 539 St. Mary's Road. The roll number is 08000294000. And the original assessment was a total of 453,000. 314,000 was the 60T, the retail portion. And then the remainder is 139,000, and that's class 10T residential. And so with this one, we're recommending that we reduce the value to a total of 370,000 with 247,000 for the commercial 60T, and then 123,000 for the residential 10T.
133, you said?
123.
123. Ashton, are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yes. So it'll be, rec is 370,000, commercial 247,000, residential 10T, 10T, 123,000, right? Good. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, which is 555 Sergeant. Jamie, when you're ready.
Yeah, so the address here, 555 Sargent Avenue. The roll number is 130506. 34000. So this one is another instance of us seeking the penalty here. And you can see it just real quickly on page 12. Here they've produced a signature for us. Starting on page 12, as I say. Oops. Sorry about that. So we have the tracking number, and then towards the bottom we have a signature. And then the mailer follows on the remaining pages. So we are seeking the penalties on that. And I'll let Ashlyn respond to that.
Ashlyn, are you challenging the non-co-op? You're walking somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you need a minute, Ash?
No, we're accepting it.
You're accepting the non-cooperative?
Yeah.
So you're gonna accept the penalty?
Yes.
Okay. Non-co-op is going to be granted then. Well, we have to discuss it, don't we? Under the new.
I'm not sure that they're accepting of it. Do you discuss it?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask Rob. Rob, have you been dealing with these lately? Do we have to go in camera to deal with these or the?
Yeah, we should recess and quickly discuss it. Yes.
Okay. So I thought we had changed the thing around. Sorry. We're gonna recess for a minute and discuss this non-co-op. I'll call the meeting back to order. We're dealing with item number 6555 Sergeant. We were discussing the non-co-op and you both agreed that it'll stand. Non-co-op. So we'll agree with you. Do you want to go ahead now, Jamie, with your presentation?
Yeah. In this case, we have a recommendation. So I'll start with that.
Okay.
So the total assessed value that we had, the original assessed value was 397,000, and the 60T, the commercial portion, was 231,000, and then the residential 10T portion is 166,000. So we're going to recommend a reduction overall to 380,000. So it's not a large cut, but down from 397,000. And so the 60T is 231,000. That's the commercial portion, and then the 10T, the residential portion, is 149,000.
Ashlyn, you're agreeing with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 7. Number 7 is 687.5 Sergeant.
So the property is 687.5 Sargent Avenue. The roll number is 13040718100. And the original assessed value was a total of 400,000. That's 225,000 for the commercial portion, class 60T, and then 175,000 for the residential portion, that's 10T. And for this one, we are recommending a reduction to a total of 333,000. And the 60T, the commercial portion, we're recommending a reduction to 176,000. And then the residential portion, class 10T, we're recommending a reduction to 157,000.
Allison, are you in agreement?
Yes.
Any questions? Seeing none,
None.
we'll go to number 8. which is 675 Sergeant. Correct?
Correct.
Sergeant. Jamie, read it on.
So it's 675 Sargent Avenue. The roll number is 130-40768-000. The original assessed value was a total of 522,000. The residential 10T portion was 349,000. And then the commercial portion 60T was 173,000. We're recommending a reduction to a total of 494,000. And that's a residential 10T portion of 323,000. And then a class 60T, the commercial portion, a value of 171,000. So 171,000 for the commercial portion, 323,000 for the residential portion, 10T, and then a total of 494,000.
Ashland? Oh. You got a problem?
No.
Ashland, question?
No,
No? So
no
we're,
question.
and we got no questions, and you're in agreement, was that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Ashland, we're gonna say goodbye to you. Jamie, you stay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jamie, we gotta take another 2-minute break and then come back to deal with number 1, okay? We're gonna discuss number 1 in camera, then we'll be back. And we're back up. So Jamie, we're gonna deal with number 1. If you could read it on the record in a brief format.
Sure. So the address is 1051 Main Street. The roll number is 14022081000. And so I actually have not heard from this individual. I have not contacted them either, though. I intended to do so, but just busy with the rest on the docket and other hearings. I was prepared and have authorization to offer a recommendation.
That's up to you.
If you guys wanted to hear that. You know, I thought it was warranted and was prepared to put it forward.
Okay, let's give it a
For my
direct.
part, I'm okay with continuing that.
Sure.
So the original value was a total of 472,000. The 60T portion, that's the commercial portion, was 392,000. And the residential portion, the 10T, was 80,000. And we're prepared to offer recommendation to a total of 408,000. And that's a 60T commercial portion of 344,000 and a 10T residential portion of 64,000. And so that totals up to 408,000.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie. We haven't got the appellant here to agree to it, but we will make our decision on that.
All right.
I do believe this concludes, I gotta find my script. Board proceedings, right? No. Introduction. Is that where you hit it?
Yes.
We have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned.
Thank you very much, everybody.
See you later.
Hi, Jamie.